direction. Okay. You know what? We're going to let this down. We're going to let this go and we're back that way. Thank you.
Am I on? Yeah.
You're on.
Okay. So the first thing, so this gets recorded in the notes, but
Yes.
for the public realm to make sense, you have to estimate noise levels beneath the bridge. Okay? We absolutely have that. I guess the second thing is, and this is sort of gimmicky, but am I 7.9 or 8.5 meters away from you? So what's the distance? Because what's the distance between me and the stage right now?
I look ask at the engineers because
Where are you?
From him to the.
From me right now. Yeah.
Yeah, 8.5 meters.
8.5 meters. So basically the distance from me and the podium right now is the distance between, the top of a house and the bridge. It's close.
it's close.
Yeah, so just so we physically know that that's the distance. Because of that, we were talking about the decibels of the diesel train being 88 decibels at 15 meters. So you did do estimations for the decibel levels of the diesel train at 8.5 or 7.9, yes? Pardon?
No, we did.
Yeah.
We looked at 36 meters trains operating.
Can you speak in the
Sorry,
mic?
I'm going to ask you to come up just so the rest of the folks can hear you.
Okay.
Thanks.
No, we did look at 36 diesel trains operating on Lone Pass, and what the mitigation benefits would be for those 36 diesel trains as well.
Right, but a diesel train at 8.5 meters from a bedroom window, how many decibels would that be?
So the policy that we have, it's based on state. I'm just telling you what the policy that we have to work with. It's based on the comparison of the daytime average sound levels to the nighttime average sound levels. The reason this policy is in place is because there's a ton of surveys done about how a community responds to noise. And the best metric that we have to categorize the response of a community to noise increases in transportation noise is the daytime equivalent sound level. That is what the guidelines are based on. That is the impact scale that project is evaluated on. It's a 5 dB increase in noise, generates a stronger community response to transportation noise based on the average daytime and nighttime sound levels. Now, what does the average sound level take into consideration? It covers off everything that people are really concerned about. It covers the maximum sound level that an event makes. It captures how many events there are, and it captures the length of the event.
Okay.
So all this goes into the calculation of the average sound level, which is then we apply this kind of 5 dB increase or more to justify a significant increase in sound, and what can we do to help reduce those sound levels. So that's what we're working with here, and that's kind of what the assessment has done.
Yeah, but I guess the thing is that we've got these noise impact things. And if we're talking, we've got about 86 is a truck at 15 meters.
Yeah.
So, if we're talking at 8.5 meters away from the bedroom wall.
Yeah, so
What's your guess?
What's the guess? How many decibels is that?
yeah, so typically a line source, such as a transportation noise source, decreases at a rate of 3 dB per doubling in distance.
Okay.
So as you get, if you go from 15 meters to 7.5, it's 3 dB louder.
Right.
And, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
Yeah.
40% louder. Okay. So I guess the other thing, in addition to public realm, I want like an estimate of what the actual decibels would be away from those houses.
Yeah. But then there's also noise mitigation concerns and stuff like that,
Yeah. And I guess the last thing, sorry for taking so much time.
That's okay.
12th of December 2013, Glenn Murray said that Metrolinx was going to be introducing a pilot project before 2017 on the Union Pearson Express line to test hydrogen-based onboard electric systems. Is that still going on? Are they going to be testing electrically battery-operated trains as a possible way of electrifying the line without
I'm going to need to get
contaminants?
back to you on that, and I will take it down, but I don't have any information about that tonight. I will get back to you, but I'm sorry, and I don't think anyone here has that information, because that's fleet and operations and evening.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. I do want to say, and I'm going to try to move through quickly, so I may not respond to everything, but I can follow up. We do have a permit, and we need to be out of here by 9, so I'm going to try to move through the questions. So I'm going to work this way, Gina, and just work down the line. Okay? You're next. Thanks.
Hi. So thanks for being here, because I imagine this is just as frustrating for you as it is for us. What is frustrating about this is that the community with no expertise continues to find problems, because this is an unprecedented project, and we're not dummies about that. I think what is doubling over the frustration is that we do have the comms in the design team here, but we don't have the decision makers who made the decision to put in the overpass. And I applaud Anna and Christina for being here, and my actual point is, I guess, twofold. One, I trust that everyone who's here from Metrolinx tonight takes back to those who they work with that we're not done. We're not even close to done in terms of why overpass. We're not done in terms of the satisfaction with answering the questions of the community. And please take this as an invitation from us to tell them that you were met with utter frustration, sadness, disappointment in our public officials, our public agency, the use of our public dollars to bring us forward designs. You use our words. And then the second part of that is to the people who have stuck it out through this frustration, because I'm new to this, and this is frustrating for me in the short term, but for those who have stuck it out in the long term and those who are new to the project, we have to double over again and again and again, because we have Christina here, we have Anna here, we have the Metrolinx people here, and we have to keep telling them what is wrong with this. Our votes in the next election aren't enough. Our letters are just the beginning. We have to be knocking on doors. We have to be at every meeting. You're right, this isn't the last meeting, and we can't stop. So get your neighbors involved, knock on doors, talk about it at the parks, mention it at the PTA meetings. It's not over.
Thank you for that. Next, just beside you. Thank you.
Hi. So we all understand that discussions are still ongoing on this topic, but if there is no consensus reached between the city, the province, and Metrolinx regarding who will be financially responsible for the long-term maintenance and landscaping required for the proposed greenway portion of the design, will construction of the bridge still commence?
So, we have committed to funding what is there, and we have also committed to an endowment fund, and we are working with the city, and we are optimistic about that, because there are a lot of connections with paths and parks and a number of things that would integrate into the community. We also understand that if we create this greenway underneath, then it's still our property, and maintenance does still fall to us. So we're optimistic that we can do more, and that working with the city, we're going to accomplish more. But we also understand if we build it, it has to be maintained, and there's legal requirements around that as well. So again, I'm not giving you a definitive answer saying we wouldn't build the bridge, but we fully recognize the responsibility that comes with building a space like this.
Because you understand that the space that you're proposing underneath and surrounding the bridge to connect the communities and the beautification, that's really the only asset you're presenting to us as a community at this stage.
Yes.
And so for the project to proceed without a realistic 100% concrete plan for the financial backing of that portion of the project, I don't understand how you could commence with the construction of this.
So I would say that we're going into the design process. Part of the environmental assessment is we do need to hear back from the Ministry of Energy and Climate Change as well about what they'd like us to incorporate into the design. So that's why the design and the plan isn't fully complete at this point, because we actually do need to hear from the ministry to say, actually, we'd like you to consider this type of mitigation, we would like you to do that. There is time between the end and the approval of that environmental assessment, the design work that will continue with the city and the community, and when this will go into construction. So it's a fair point, and we will come back and report back on that matter. Thank you. Sir?
Question for Sam. Sam, you're familiar with the GO trains? You've been studying them on our behalf,
Yes.
and you mentioned that they're 88 decibels at 15 meters from locomotive
Yeah, at a neutral throttle setting.
at a neutral throttle setting. How loud is the bell?
So there's two bells. There's a bell at the stations, and there's a warning horn.
A bell at the station. Bell at the station.
Yeah, so and for a bell at the station, we didn't look at that in this project because there are no stations within the content. So
Okay, now, hang on a second, because on your public realm plan, it says area set aside for a Bloor station. 10 years from now, when you put a station at Bloor, and you have this massive level of trains coming in, which are required by federal law to ring the bell before they get to the station, what is it going to be like for these people listening to that bell? Because I'm a block away from the Bloor station on Ernest, and with my windows closed, that bell is driving me fucking insane.
This wasn't part of this environmental assessment. As I said earlier, there's 2 environmental assessments that will happen as well for this area. So one is the double tracking, which is current, and the station process and the station analysis has additional stages. So there's a business case analysis that goes with the new station, and there's also an environmental assessment, because you need to understand all of this in terms of air quality, noise, vibration, soil, archaeological impact of the site that you're looking at for the station as much as you do for the bridge. So that is a fair point and is coming. What I will say is bells and whistles network-wide are a concern when we're going to 180 trains. And though there is a federal regulation about when to ring bells and whistles, we're also working with our federal counterparts to see, because you can't get an exemption with the municipality for those, and we're also looking at standards about how bells and whistles are run going into a station. And so that is a definite point of concern, and it is something that we're trying to address on 2 fronts. One on the actual operational side, and the second.
But shouldn't it be part of this study?
So as I said earlier, because there's a number of studies happening at the same time to offer this type of service, and they all offer different expertise, the local impacts benefit from understanding that expertise as well. So electrification, the station, double tracking, all of those deserve the same amount of scrutiny and conversation and study that an environmental assessment brings to it. So we're aware that it needs to be a comprehensive plan going into a build, but the studies themselves are happening concurrently.
Okay, I just want to point out that I read the sound study that was done for the UPX, and there was no mention in that study that Metrolinx sponsored and paid for. There was no mention of the bell ringing.
Okay?
And it is the loudest and most piercing sound from the UPX every 7.5 minutes until 1 in the morning. And there was no mention of it in any study. So it is a massive oversight not to have Sam there working on what would the bells be like on that train, because people are going to go nuts when they start ringing those bells if you build a station at Bloor, which is what you're proposing.
Okay, thank you for that. I do want to say we need to be out of the manager's meeting. We have 5 minutes. So I'm going to...
all the questions.
That's true, but we do have to respect the permit that we have and the fact that people do want to pack up and go home. So I'm going to ask, could you please keep your comments brief? We will also have an opportunity to submit them formally to the record, and then I think that the councillor and the MVP wanted to say a quick word as well. So, sir, thank you.
So I have, obviously, like everybody else here, tons of concerns with what you guys have done. I have some questions about the methodology in terms of how you measure air quality, how you measure sound throughout the day. So my understanding is that you're averaging decibel level throughout, whatever the operating period is of the day. Not looking at the acute effects of the diesel trains while they're passing. because that experience is much different. You say that there's an 88 decibel level of a train operating in neutral. What's a train operating active? Because there's an incline, I understand that there's an incline going up to the top of the bridge that's going to pass a lot of these people's homes. So, which will require the diesel to be, the engine to be running active. Can you answer that first, please?
Sorry, there's Bill
Yeah, you're right. So for all the northbound trains, they will be operating at a higher throttle setting to get up to that incline. All the southbound trains will generally coast or operate at a lower throttle setting. So for the sound levels going northbound, they typically operate at a maximum throttle setting, which is about 6 dB higher.
Which is percentage-wise, how much higher is that than?
It's a
Significant difference.
Yeah, it's something you would
Like a lot.
A lot. Significant, yes.
My other main
And that was actually shown in like the slide and stuff like that.
Okay, but you didn't put the train on your graph here. That's, I think,
Yeah.
you wouldn't get so many questions if you actually marked it on your
Yeah,
chart.
we can add whatever you like to that graph. It's-
Yeah. It would be good, since that's what everybody's asking about, it would it be smart? Looking at the underpass, so the one thing that you guys have said you're going to do is create this wonderful green space, this bike path. So to not measure the volume under the bridge, I think is a very glaring oversight. I wonder how many other glaring oversights that haven't been presented to us yet. I'm wondering whether that's somewhere I would like to take my child for a bike ride. If the volume level is at 60 dBs, is that going to be safe for my child? Is that going to be, is the air quality, even a 1% increase in, decrease in the air quality? If my child has asthma, is that something I'm going to be comfortable with living next to in this community? Are those questions that you guys have asked yourselves thus far in the assessment? Are those things you're ready to talk to parents who have children with asthma about? Those are the questions that I have, and I'd like to know how you guys will deal with this.
Okay, if I could, I would note that down and will respond, but I do want to try to fit in just a few other folks who have remaining questions. Thank you.
Hi, I have a question for Sam as well. You're the guy. So you mentioned something about average sound levels. I was wondering if, as part of the actual sound study, you'll be putting forward maximum decibel levels, because an average is all well and good, but I would like to know what's the maximum noise that can be expected both overnight and during the day.
Okay. There is no, like I said, policy framework or guideline for the maximum sound level. So we probably wouldn't, because that doesn't have a bearing on the findings of the study.
I think the people in this room might disagree.
Okay, well, I mean, you can voice your concerns and we'll take that into consideration, but it's not part of the framework that we work with to evaluate the maximum sound level.
So would it be something that could be included as part of the next steps? Because I think that a lot of people are very
it's
concerned.
definitely something that can be done in like very detailed level. Like I said, there's no framework in place.
There's no framework for a bridge like this in any neighborhood. Sorry, Sam, you're getting hit a lot of times. But anyway, and then I just have one very brief comment, and then I'm done. So there's been a lot of talk from Metrolinx in the media, of course, a bit unfavorable. My concern in particular is one that dealt with some folks who live next to a former CN rail line that became a Metrolinx rail line that runs from 5:30 a.m. to 1:30 in the morning, which is what's proposed for our rail line. And what they have found is that now they have nonstop maintenance overnight from 1:30 to 5:30 in the morning. So I'm wondering if there's a plan in place for rail maintenance, because now that you have that track also elevated, you have lights shining up there, you've got eyes and people, and all of that sound is also proposed for overnight. So I just want to know if there's a plan for that.
So I don't have that with me, because as I said, that's an operational plan of Go Transit, but I can definitely ask that question and provide that back. And I think